Hello everyone and welcome back to Adastra. My name is Decalink the Trained Unprofessional, and I did manage to squeeze one more episode in today. Or at least I believe I did. We'll soon see. I'm going to do my best to get as much done as possible. So, let's get on with the gettings on. The day before the trial, Amicus shoos me and Alex out into the gardens. It's strange, but he tells us that they need to be tended to, considering that the camera drones are going to sweep over the grounds for an opening shot before the second trial begins. It's the first time he's ever actually asked me to do a task. And when I point that out to him, he says that he also needs time alone to practice his speech. That makes sense. It's still a little odd. Alex and I stand in the gardens picking out the weeds just like I had on my first day in the palace. It's hard to believe a month's gone by, even with the 19-hour days. Guess it's been about 3 weeks in Earth time. I get to work pulling on the small white flowers and ones that seem to grow in every crevice of the garden. You'd think that drones would be smart enough to take care of the weeds themselves. Well, they don't have appendages to pull with. All they could really do is use their high-powered lasers, but that risks starting fires. The drones have lasers? Oh yes, they need some form of defense mechanism. Huh. I mean, it's not like they'd ever use it on you. Even if they did, it's not enough to kill you. Or at least, not quickly. Just leaves nasty burns. I find myself continuing to glance up at an Adastran spider sitting motionlessly on the wall of the palace. Wish they'd use them on these hideous things. It takes Alex a moment to see what I'm looking at. Oh, William, you know those are important for the ecosystem. Yeah, I know. Doesn't make them any less disgusting. Imagine one of those things biting you. Indeed. Oh, honestly, I've been vaccinated so many times after coming to Adastra that sharp, pointy things don't scare me so much anymore. We work quietly for a few more minutes, Alex lazily humming as I try to think of a way to bring something up that I've wanted to talk about with the cat. So? Watches Alex's paws work fast, plucking the weeds with speed and precision. What's your relationship with Cassius like? See Alex's paws freeze for a moment, then quickly return to their work, the dirty pile of weeds next to him growing larger and larger on the marble floor. Our relationship? You already know that, William. I'm his pet, just like you are Amicus's pet. He smiles at me. At this point, I decide to stop letting the cat play his little game with me. I give him a look that says, "Oh, come on," and I see his ears fall a bit. What? You know exactly what. I think it's pretty obvious the two of you are, I don't know, something more. This is the first time I've called the cat out on his polite pet facade, and I see that it's thrown him off a bit. His ears are down, and he's staring hard at his paws, pushing through the weeds, though he's no longer plucking them. That's such a forward question, William. I wonder if his demeanor just has to do with his cat modesty, or if there's actual laws against pet-master relationships. Come on, we're friends. Besides, I want some advice. Now his ears perk up a little bit. Oh, with what? Well, first I want to know if, something's going on between you and Cassius. Then I'll know if you can answer. Alex sighs huffily and sits back on his rear, looking a bit childish with his legs and feet splayed out in front of himself. I don't know why it matters. Well, I don't know how things are on Amorpha, but where I'm from, friends talk about their relationships with each other. It's actually strange not to tell your friends about who you're in a relationship with. Those ears are folded down. I can see how red they are. We're not in an official relationship, but there are feelings between us, yes. Really? Alex snaps his gaze to mine. Why do you sound so surprised? Not surprised, just fascinated. I'm not. You two are just really different. How so? I mean, do I have to explain it? Alex is quiet. Well, you're so reserved and quiet, and he's so... Now that I know Alex actually likes Cassius, I don't want to be too offensive. Cassius. Alex sighs. Yes, Cassius is very Cassius, but there's a lot more to him than what he puts out in public. So, you like him? Parts of him, yes. Alex has lowered his voice to the point where I almost can't hear him, so I do the same. So are you in, like, a relationship? I don't know what they're called on Adastra. Alex bristles. Well, it is simply called a relationship. The only official status is marriage. But that's only between males and females. What about between males? There is not. Why are you so curious? Alex looks at me carefully, eyes narrowed. I shrug. Just wondering. I like to learn about the culture I'm in. I see. Are you interested in Amicus? Now it's my turn to blush. No. William, you can tell me. I thought we were friends. Oh, you fucking dug a fucking hole for yourself. This is bad. This is bad. Alex is not fucking trustworthy. That motherfucker does not look trustworthy to me. Could you trust a man that looks like this? Looks like he's tangled up in a fucking tent. What are you gonna trust that? I got the feeling Alex is a lot better than me at these games. I don't know, honestly. But I guess I was wondering how I'd go about it if I decided to. Aw, that's adorable. All I could do in response is blush a deeper shade of red. So you're asking how to tell a wolf if you're interested? Yeah. Well, between males, it usually happens naturally, without saying so. If you haven't noticed, there's a stigma against same-sex relationships on Adastra. Leaving the status of a relationship unsaid makes it less likely that you'll be found out. I think for a moment. Amicus seems to want me to make the relationship official. I guess he's just going by my standards then. He probably wants me to ask him to date me, Earth style. Alex goes back to plucking some of the weeds. However, I feel that things are changing, though very slowly. Honestly, someone like Amicus becoming Emperor would be really something. I want to ask Alex how prominent the rumors are about Amicus when I suddenly hear footsteps. I look up half expecting to see the wolf, but instead, is it Neferu? Oh, it's Cato. Jesus Christ. Cato simply stares at us, his paws behind his back as usual. A moment of silence goes by before Alex suddenly stumbles to his feet, paws clasped in front of himself before bowing low. I quickly follow suit, a few seconds behind the cat. It's about when I notice how dirty my robe is at the knees. Alex remains bowed as I do the same, listening as Cato's footsteps come closer. He stops a few feet away, and I can see his worn, blunt claws at the top of my vision. He stands there for a very long time, not saying anything, forcing me and Alex to remain stooped. As my back starts to ache, I realize that he must be doing this on purpose. Are we in trouble for something? Finally he speaks, and I almost jump.
Alexius? William? How are you this afternoon?
Alex straightens up, and I do the same, stifling my groan in relief. If Alex is sore, he's not showing it at all as he fixes a smile on his face. Wonderful, Your Imperial Majesty. I hope the same is for you. I open my mouth, trying to think of something to say, though Alex doesn't leave me much room to do so. Doesn't seem to matter, though, as Cato starts speaking, reminding me that I'm still supposed to be a near-mute primitive.
Sadly, no, Alexius. I was just in the city today, and I was hearing some unfortunate rumors amongst the officials.
Another long pause. Oh? The corner of Cato's mouth twitches, and while I usually have a hard time knowing what the old wolf is thinking, I can tell right now that he's not happy.
Indeed. Rumors about Cassius and his intentions involving triumvirates if he becomes emperor.
Takes me a moment to know what they're talking about, then I remember. The triumvirates? I wonder why. Alex puts on a very innocent, confused look, even though I know that he knows what this is about.
I wonder as well, which is why I'm curious to know if either of you have heard the rumor, or possibly the source of the rumor.
Immediately I feel sweat starting to break out on my forehead, and I'm glad that I'm already sweating from the heat. I'm sorry to say that I don't know, Your Imperial Majesty. Another moment of silence goes by, and that's when I notice that Cato's waiting for me to answer. I choke on my words for a moment, adjusting my brain to dumb ape mode. What is triumvirates? His mouth twitches again.
Anyway, I'm on my way to Cassius's room to let him know the news. Please accompany me, Alexius.
Yes, Emperor. Alex quickly hops to attention as Cato turns with a twirl of his robes, heading back up the path as Alex quickly follows. Seems like everyone knows more than they're letting on, and I can't trust a single goddamn person. I'm left to stand there alone for a moment, watching the two of them disappear amongst the bushes. So, someone had told the officials about Cassius's plans to eliminate the triumvirates. Despite Alex's innocent act, I assume it had to be him. Either that or it was Virginia. I wonder if Cato's already has already suspicions about Alex. A rare typo for this game. And if that's the case, if it could all come back to me. I hope not. The idea of playing politics amongst these passive-aggressive wolves is not at all appealing. Spent a few more hours weeding the gardens on my own, knowing that I won't be able to make as much progress alone. After a while, I meander around the gardens a bit, wanting to go back inside, but not really wanting to bother Amicus while he studies. While I'm doing that, though, I think more and more about what Alex and I had been talking about. Should I just confess my feelings to Amicus and close the awkward gap between us? I know it's weighing on his mind. Maybe asking him out will give him the boost he needs to win. Maybe I'm just trying to convince myself, but I realize that is something that I want to do. And if I'm going to do it, it's probably best to do it before the trial. Set his mind at ease. Carefully, I pick a few flowers from the gardens, and not making the giant bouquet that Amicus had made for his own proposal, but enough to look nice, at least in my opinion. As I walk to the wolf's room, I have enough time to second-guess myself. Maybe this isn't such a good idea. My heart is hammering in my chest as I approach the wolf's door, and I'm sure my face is bright red. Try to keep my breathing under control as I stand in front of the door. What should I say? Maybe just imitate what the wolf did back when he asked me out. Something's going to be on the other side of this fucking door. Some shit is going to be on the other side of this door, or something's going to stop us before we go in. Some shit's about to happen. Yeah, that'll be funny and cute, right? Start to feeling myself get cold feet, I just reach up to the panel, pressing it, deciding to just throw myself into this. This one will be my pointer. This right here is Neferu. This right here is Amicus. And about this area is a penis, so I can't show that. But, yeah, that's what we just walked in on. The scene I came upon is probably the last one I would have ever expected. At first, I think the two of them are fighting. Neferu and Amicus obviously have some kind of tension going on between them, so seeing the jackal splayed out on the bed, while Amicus growled and snarled above him, pinning him down, well, a fight is all that would have come to mind. But after a few more seconds of staring open-mouthed at the scene in front of me, I slowly realized what's actually happening. While Amicus might be snarling, Neferu's letting out grunts and groans that are clearly full of pleasure. His face and body say it all, too. The jackal writhing and twisting under the wolf, pawing at him as he says words that don't translate through the lingua. If that isn't enough to tell me what exactly is going on, then the jackal's slick pink cork bouncing against his tightened abs is. I guess the sounds they're making covered up the sounds of the door opening because neither of them look up. Instead, they both continue to go at it while I stare in shock. Part of me didn't want to make any sudden movements just to not attract their attention, while the other part of me just stares in fascination, not having seen anything like this before. A few times Neferu tries to reach up and touch Amicus's face, and each time the wolf bats it away or pins the paw down. Amicus seems irritated almost, like he's more annoyed about the situation than anything else. Neferu is practically the opposite, somehow maintaining that trademark smirk of his while all this is going down. Okay, I had to move the grapes quite a bit, because there was quite a bit, but you can see... And then all of the moments for me to walk in on their little session, they seem to have reached their peak. Neferu lets out a series of short moans, a strange sound coming from someone as refined and reserved as he is. You can see the results as it splatters against his torso and muzzle, his hips jerking frantically as his face morphs into a look of strained pleasure. Meanwhile, Amicus's moan is long and deep as he thrusts harder into the jackal, freezing up before practically melting over the other canine. His expression is a lot more goofy, and despite myself, I find myself thinking that's exactly how I'd imagined his orgasm face. I just sort of take this all in, still trying to understand what the hell's going on. I know what is going on, but I don't know why. There's certainly an amount of horror that goes with my reaction, as if I'd walked in on my parents doing it. I guess I'm at least glad that I'm seeing it at this angle, which means I can't see what's going on under Neferu's hips. I realized then that I need to get the hell out of here before they see me. As they both gasp at their sticky mess, I slowly start to back out, and that's when the door automatically closes behind me. God damn it. Now things are quiet. Nothing covers up that sound. And Neferu and Amicus look up at me as one. Stand there feeling as if I'm in a dream as they both stare at me. Must look like an idiot. My robe dirty from the gardens. Flowers dangling from my... Oh, I forgot about the flowers. Flowers dangling from my right hand, my mouth hanging open in fascinated horror. Amicus looks the most shocked, though. I can see a million thoughts running through his head, clearly not having wanted me to see this. His reasons for sending me and Alex out to do menial yard work is very clear now. Neferu, for his part, isn't wearing his usual suave smirk. Instead, it's surprised, maybe even a little guilty, like not even he wanted me to see this. I opened my mouth. But then any will to smooth over the situation, somehow make a joke of it, even leaves me. With both their eyes on me, both of them, all two of them, turn and almost run into the door, having to drop the flowers at the ground and press the panel. Somehow I feel even worse than I had when I had left the throne room in disgrace after the dance. Door slides open, and the next thing I know, I'm jogging out into the hall. As I do, I hear Amicus struggling for words. William, wait! There's some rustling sounds, followed by a yelp from Neferu before the door slides shut, and only sounds are my echoing footsteps. Oh boy. Caught in the act, I see. Well, they aren't officially dating, but I imagine there's going to be a lot to talk about with this one. Oh boy. I'm not sure where I'm going. I just know that I need to get as far away as I can from that situation. What I just saw was only now sinking in, and so is the hurt. What the fuck? That fucking wolf tells me he's in love with me, or at least interested in me, and the next thing you know, he's fucking that jackal? What the fuck? I guess I'm more angry than hurt. I must have looked like such an idiot standing there while one of them was getting railed. And walk in on that moment. It's like it was scripted or something. Neferu had been so clearly into it, and Amicus looked so mean and aggressive. That whole thing was just awful. Well, awful to walk in on unexpectedly in another context. My vision blurs for a moment as I refuse to let myself cry over something that wasn't even going to be serious. I was going to offer Amicus this stupid fling, and that was it. I wasn't obligated to have only eyes for me. In fact, I knew he was into Neferu. We'd already discussed it. So this is fine. This was expected, actually. I wasn't even expecting anything. The reason I'm so embarrassed and feel like shit right now is because I walked in on the 2 alien dogs butt fucking. It was weird and messed up. I just need to collect my thoughts for a moment. That's when I realize I don't really know where I am in the palace. Most of the hallways look the same, and this one's no exception, though I know I'm deeper in than I've been before. William! Oh, Amicus's footsteps pound on the floor behind me. I don't know how far away he is, considering the echoing halls can be deceptive, but I immediately take a right through a particularly large set of double doors. Oh, the palace room. Oh. Oh, this is not the palace room. This is... Oh. Whoa. This is probably someone else's bedroom. We shouldn't be. Might be the Emperor's bedroom. The room I walk into is full of smells, good ones, like a garden. The air is cool and fresh, even as afternoon light pours in from an opening in the ceiling. All the while, there's this sound of soft trickling of water from a small fountain in the center of the room. I stand there for a moment, eyes scanning for anyone else that might be here. When I don't see anyone, I move closer to the center of the room, looking around at the flowers and plants as I try to calm my hammering heart. No, Amicus is probably going to find me soon. All he has to do is ask calm. So I fold my arms, trying to look casual, realizing now that it would have just been better for me to hang out in the hall, maybe laugh when Amicus came out. I made a joke and acted like it wasn't a big deal. It's way too late for that now. Sure enough, the doors open and Amicus stumbles in his underwear, his fur completely messed up, chest heaving for breath. Is he covered up? Yeah, he's covered up. William, I need to talk about... He doubles over, paws on his knees as he gasps for his air. I cringe as I see my flowers clutched in one of his paws. I still try to look casual, keeping my arms folded. What? About what you just saw! Don't worry about it. I shrug before busying myself with brushing off my robes so they don't look dirty. No, I want to explain what happened. You don't need to explain it. It's none of my business. Well, it is. It's definitely not. I snap at the wolf. Who you fuck is none of my business. That's all up to you. Don't let me tell you who you can and can't be with. Amicus frowns deeply at me. What? You heard me. I don't want to hear about it. I'm not here for this shit anyway. Here for what? I throw my hands up in frustration. What just happened? For sex or love, whatever the hell it is you guys do, whatever it is you told me you wanted on that island. Pointing the flowers in his paw. I'm just trying to get home. I feel my eyes threatening to water up again, and I stubbornly swallow that back right quick. No, that's not what that was. Please let me explain. I shake my head. You guys have sex. It's not a big deal. I get it. Humans can be like that too. Amicus takes a step forward, but I take one back. I guess it's just a little fucked up that you confessed your feelings 2 days ago, and then suddenly you're fucking another guy. It's also ridiculous. Not only the situation I'm in, but the fact that I feel so hurt by the wolf, even though nothing has really happened between us except an alcohol-fueled kiss. Amicus takes another step forward, his paws up, staring wide-eyed at me. That's not what happened. If you'll let me explain... Then what did I just say? What you saw, it was... more of a transaction than anything. What have come? Amicus chokes in surprise. Well, yes, I guess, but I kind of made it. I made a deal with the Camion. What deal? Well, I'm sure you remember all problems with Cassius. About him wanting to murder me. Yes, that problem. What about it? Well, I did say I wasn't. I did say it wasn't something you should worry about, but like I also said, I'm taking all precautions. Yeah. Yes. So. Wolf pauses. What? I realize now that I should have consulted you on this, but it was my only immediate option. What option? Well, Cassius might be willing to execute my pet. He wouldn't dare touch the pet of a Camion. What? The wolf rubs behind his neck with one paw and speaks very quickly. If I were to lose the second trial, I made it so that your ownership would transfer to Neferu. You become his pet. I stare at the wolf. This would ensure that Cassius would not dare come after you. If he did, it might upset the very delicate relations we have with the Camions. A moment of silence passes. So I become Neferu's pet. If I somehow lost the trial, yes. I stare at the wolf.
Are you okay with that?
Amicus. Again with him doing things without even telling me. No conversation, no warning, no consideration. After all this time, he still doesn't see me as an equal. Amicus sees my expression change and quickly jumps in again. It's the best alternative, mainly because the Camians likely use their own stretch. Neferu would be able to get you home if he had to. So to pay him. He wanted sex and only seemed interested in that, yes. Trust me, I took no emotional pleasure in it. And quiet. Don't worry, though. I made sure the contract we agreed to ensures that you will not have to be involved in anything like that. In fact, you'd almost be treated like a pharaoh. Amicus grins proudly. I stare at the wolf for a while, suddenly feeling numb. Are you feeling better? His voice takes on a serious tone as he reaches out and pushes a thumb pad across my cheek. The action is intimate, and I turn my head away. We stand awkwardly for a moment, and Amicus holds up the flowers. You dropped these? I shake my head. They were for you. Amicus winces. I thought so. Were you going to ask me? I feel my face getting hot. Yeah. But now, I'm suddenly enveloped in a very tight hug. Oh, that was the worst moment for you to walk in. I'm sorry. I stand there limp, just letting the wolf hug me. Finally, Amicus steps back, holding the slightly wilting flowers as he stares at them. I hope after that you're still considering. I sigh and shake my head, to which Amicus's ears fall. I'm just a stupid primate to you, aren't I? What? I told you before to just talk to me. If you're planning something that involves me, why couldn't you have at least given me a warning, especially for something like this? You what? It was sudden, and the idea might hurt you after what happened on the island. No shit. So you went behind my back. I know sometimes you don't even think, but you knew this would hurt? No, I've been so busy, not to mention negotiating these things is complicated. I'm just trying to do what's best for you. Without really thinking about me, or how I might feel about any of this. I'm always thinking about you. Every damn hour of the day, and this is on top of the trials. Believe it or not, William, I'm stretched a bit thin, and it would be helpful if you could work with me. Work with you? How? Let you manipulate me into becoming your boyfriend, then watch you fuck another guy so I can become his slave instead. I've been pretending, but now I could actually become... I've been pretending, but now it could actually become official. I can't stop the words from spilling out of my mouth, wanting to hurt the wolf just as much as he hurt me. Manipulate... The wolf stares at me. Then Amicus's hackles rise, but instead of instilling any sort of fear in me like it normally would, I feel satisfaction. William, I will not have you accusing me of such a thing. I was more honest with you on the island than I have been with anyone in years. But not about what just happened with Neferu. What, do you think I owe you celibacy? We're not dating, and you refuse to do anything with me. It may come as a surprise to you, but even in times like these, I have needs. So you did want it. Amicus looks about ready to explode, and for a moment he just stands there in silence, practically shaking. He opens his mouth, and instead of the shouting I expect, it's almost a whisper. I may not know how these things work on Earth, but you know how they work on Adastra. You said yourself that these matters are casual. What happened with the jackal means nothing to me. You mean so much to me, which is why I did it, to keep you safe. I shake my head. Well, seeing what happens in the bedroom hurt. It's really only the tip of the iceberg with what's wrong with all of this. If you actually cared about me, you'd care about what I want. You keep telling me how smart I am, but here we are again, with you doing stuff without any of my input because you think I'm too stupid to understand. No, You wolves are all the same. We're all just stupid barbarians. You don't treat me as an equal. You look down on me, and why the fuck would I want to be with someone like that? That's not even win your stupid trial and send me home. If you don't, just blast my stupid ape ass off into space. I don't want to be here anymore. I turn, heading for the door. Wait, please! Whatever he was going to say suddenly cut off when I hear the loud thud. I don't look back to see what he kicked or punched. Instead, I head out into the hall, not sure at all where I'm going. I just know that I hate everything about what just happened. Well, that was a fucking adventure, wasn't it? For a while, I just wander. I end up pacing the halls of the palace before going outside to sit in the gardens. I don't see anyone. It's weirdly calm outside, especially considering what the Emperor could be deciding tomorrow. I wonder how things are in the city, and the rest of the Empire. I look out towards the faint city skyline, glinting gently in the afternoon light. Amicus doesn't come out after me. Should he? I'd said such horrible things to him. But even now, I feel like I had to say them. I'm tired of being treated like an actual pet. Now that I might actually become one. Still, I kind of wish he did come after me again. I do believe that he was only trying to protect me. That he thought what he was doing was the only way to do that. But after everything on the beach, after I've already told him to keep me in the loop. Honestly, if he'd asked me about it first, even just told me about it, I'd probably have been okay with it. Sure, maybe a little jealous, but okay. I realize that a lot of this anger is just because I feel betrayed. I feel that way because I really, really like Amicus. I'd expect him to treat me better after everything. I'd expected him to. The late afternoon heat is making me sweat, but instead of going inside, I just move under some shade. After a while, I lay back on the bench I'm sitting on, drifting off to sleep. Oh. When I wake up, it takes me a while to realize where I am. I stare at the flowers and leaves gently lit up by the garden lights until I remember that I'd fallen asleep there. Groggily, I call it for calm, and according to him, I've only been out for about 2 hours, but the sun here always moves fast across the sky. I brush a few leaves off my robes as I get up to walk towards the palace, realizing at this point that I can't exactly avoid going back to Amicus's room forever. At least it'll force us to talk about things after we've cooled down. At least I hope he's cooled down. My pace starts to slow as I get closer to his bedroom, unsure of what to say after everything that's happened. I decide I'm going to apologize, but also expect an apology from him as well. We both made mistakes, but we could get past this if we talked it out. We're going to walk in on some shit again. I don't know. It would be a little repetitive for them to do it again. Dinner is still sitting next to the door on its card, untouched. I pause, my hand hovering over the panel, remembering what I saw last time I opened this door. Shuddering, I steel myself and press it. Some shit is going on up there, and I don't know what it is. The room's empty. No wolf in sight. Cold air creeps out of the room, chilling my bare calves as I continue to stand in the hallway. I realize then that I'm holding in my breath and let it out slowly. I look up and down the hall in case I might see Amicus, but as always, it's empty. With a soft sigh, I slowly walk in towards the bed before changing direction to sit on the sofa instead. Comet told me that it was the 18th hour. That means Amicus should be getting ready for bed by now, a schedule he follows almost religiously. Maybe he's getting ready for the trial somehow. That'd be good, but I'm also getting the uncomfortable feeling that he's just avoiding me. That'd be bad, because despite what happened, he shouldn't be thinking at all about me. He could be the Emperor tomorrow. So I sit there, hugging a pillow, waiting. After a while, I grab the food from the hallway and manage to eat a little bit. Wonder if I should save some for Amicus, but decide that he'd be able to get his own food from the kitchens instead of these cold leftovers if he ends up returning. So I send the rest back with the drones and continue waiting. After a few more hours, Amicus still doesn't come back, and I end up laying down on the sofa, waiting to fall asleep. Another fade out. Oh! Sound of the door opening jolts me awake, and I quickly sit up, turning to look. Amicus? It's not Amicus. It's not Amicus. It's not Amicus. I stare at the jackal for a moment, feeling a sudden surge of anger in my chest. Hello, William. Are you not coming to the trial? I look around. Oh, what time is it? The 7th hour, which means the trial starts in less than an hour. Where's Amicus? Preparing for the trial. He hasn't been back all night. He was meditating most of the night. All night? Indeed. All night. Oh, God. I frown at the jackal. What do you want? Neferu walks further into the room slowly before stopping in the middle, a good 15 feet away. To escort you to the trial, if you'd like. And to also talk. About what? I've already told you that you don't need to play stupid with me, William. I sit up straight, turning to face the jackal more directly. I'm not. I'm just wondering why the fuck you have the nerve to show up here after taking advantage of Amicus like that. What? I don't think I've ever seen Neferu caught off guard, so the sight is kind of funny. I smirk. Well, that's certainly a way to look at it. What other way is there to look at it? Plenty, if you'll let me explain. I sit back on the sofa, crossing my arms. Amicus already explained. I become your pet to protect me from Cassius, and in exchange for that, you made him fuck you in the ass. Again, the jackal looks shocked and then laughs, the sound high and soft. Oh dear, there are so many ways to look at this, aren't there? His suddenly cheerful mood irritates me. Listen, I honestly don't want any part in this. Yes, but you already are a part of it, whether you want to be or not. So please, allow me to explain some things. I don't say anything, keeping my arms folded, my expression bored. Jekyll seems to take that as a cue to continue. Amicus approached me about this deal a week ago, shortly after the incident with Cassius. It seemed simple enough, and I had to agree with him. Your position in this power struggle is becoming ever more precarious. I raise an eyebrow. How so? The rumors about Cassius' intent to disband the triumvirates have saturated the trial, even though Cato has banned all discussion of it. Word is that Cassius has realized who might have started the rumors. Neferu looks pointedly at me, though I try to keep my expression neutral. This has implications for you, obviously, but not only because you possibly sabotaged his chances at the throne. I feel my stomach turn a little, realizing I've gotten myself into way more than I'd ever intended. This also brings into question your intelligence. Far too intelligent for a simian, wouldn't you say? I open my mouth, but Neferu goes on. Now, with all this considered, it was only natural for Amicus to come to me for help. Your life is in danger, William, no matter the facade these peaceful palace halls might project. I stare at the jackal, suddenly surprised at how candid he's being with me. He asked me what I wanted most, and I answered truthfully. An alliance with the wolves if Amicus were to become emperor. Of course, he declined outright, as he should have as the prospective emperor. How could he promise something so important with so many implications all over one pet? So, knowing that was impossible, I offered something a bit more selfish on my part. Copulation with the handsome son of a wolven emperor. To this, he only needed a few moments to agree. I grimace.
But I want you to understand something, William. If Amicus had found even that disagreeable, I would have simply asked for nothing. It is the duty of all Camians to protect any sapient fleeing wolven violence, whether they be sibling, child, or abandoned. Pet ownership is illegal where I'm from, and the idea is quite disgusting, don't you agree?
Neferu glances at me.
But wolves love their contracts, and no matter how different Amicus might wish himself to be, he is still a wolf. He despises the idea that he might owe something to a Camian. And his quickness to accept the deal showed me that despite how much he wanted to not want to fuck me, as you put it, there was a part of him that did. In the end, he was willing.
I look away, frowning.
And I think this is something that has caused a rift between the two of you. You must understand that sex is casual here. It means nothing more than indulging in our corporeal desires. It's one of the few cultural similarities we share with the wolves. I've been told that simians are more similar to cats and that such things hold much more meaning. But you are no longer on Simia, and must understand that things are different here. Even if he wants to, which I believe he does, Amicus can't change his philosophy over the course of a single week.
I finally find room to speak. You're acting like we're in a relationship or something.
You aren't. But you are to be. But you want to be. Amicus loves you. It's clear as Vita, as they say here.
I feel the little thrill in my chest, and my face blushes furiously. Neferu goes on, like he didn't just actually say that, though.
So yes, if you don't like the idea of Amicus fucking another man, then claim him as your own man.
I frown. Claim?
I'm going by wolven terms here. I'm sure you have your own.
Neferu just asked me to ask Amicus out?
Now, does that clear things up for you?
Even though I just woke up, I already feel exhausted. I guess? There was a little more to it than that, though.
Which I'm sure can be settled in the future. Civil discussions can do wonders. Now, we really must be going to the trial, if you're wanting to go.
Neferu raises an eyebrow at me. I find myself shaking my head, but not to deny the jackal his request. Rather, it's because I don't know what the hell this guy is up to. I get up, and Neferu offers his arm to me, which I stare at.
Shall I escort you?
This is something I'd seen the jackal do multiple times to Virginia and Alex. For some reason, he seemed to really just enjoy escorting people around. After his little lecture, I can tell that he's trying to smooth things over between me and Amicus. So reluctantly, I reach out and take his arm in both hands, if only to please him. And pleased he seemed to be. A tugging at the corner of his muzzle makes me think he's trying not to smile too much. As he guides me out the door, I find myself feeling out the fur in his arm. It's much more silky and smooth compared to Amicus, not quite as fluffy. This is not as nice as Amicus's coat, but it does feel nice in a different way. There's a lot of muscle there, too, and I wonder if the jackal works out in the amphitheater, though I've never seen him in there. I guess I can see why so many people are into this guy, if muscles are your thing. As we continue through the halls, I notice we're taking a different route than one to the throne room. Where are we going?
To meet the star of the most asinine entertainment show in the galaxy. What better way to determine the fate of all things, siblings and parents alike, than through meaningless wolven spectacle?
What? Neferu pauses in front of a door, gently pulling away from me while his paw is held distinctively up to a panel.
What I'm saying is that quite a bit is depending on your wolf right now, and he might need some encouragement.
I'm still staring at the jackal when he finally presses the panel opening the door. When I look back, I find myself looking into a much smaller room, simple and bare. Just a bed and a dresser. The air is thick with the calming smell of incense as it creeps into the hallway and washes over me in a warm wave. And there, sitting on the bed, is Amicus. Before I can look back at Neferu, the wolf suddenly looks up. We both stare at each other for a moment. Then the wolf is suddenly on his feet, stumbling towards me. He stops himself halfway across the room, though, paws clasped in front of himself. I've never seen him so disheveled before. His fur is stuck up all over his neck and shoulders, his cape is askew, his eyes are red and bleary. Before I know it, I'm walking into the room towards the wolf. Are you okay? Amicus tries to smooth his fur down, but it sticks right back up.
I'm fine. I was just meditating.
You look awful. Isn't the trial in less than an hour?
Yes.
So a moment of silence goes by as I stare at the wolf. Are you going then? You should get ready.
William.
I stop, waiting. The pause is long, and when Amicus finally speaks, his voice is so quiet I can barely hear it.
I don't think I was meant for this.
My heart sinks. Meant for what?
Everything in this damned empire. I've done absolutely nothing right. Everything has been handed to me on a platter my entire life. But the first time I actually have to fight for something. I know you don't think I took this seriously, but I did. I tried. I wasn't prepared. And you were right.
I see a little wetness around his eyes, but he aggressively wipes at them with an arm. Well, weeks ago I might have welcomed this epiphany. This is the absolute worst moment for it.
I couldn't even keep my best friend. I would have been a terrible emperor.
It takes me a moment to realize that he's talking about me. Amicus. Quick meal break.
You want to need me now? You want to dance, man?
Alright. Back from eating a delicious meal, and now I am completely departed from the emotion of this scene. So let me try to get back into it as seamlessly as possible. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you everything. I'm fucking kidding, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't tell you everything. That I treated you poorly, that I got you into this stupid mess in the first place, and that I can't get you out of it.
The wolf's voice catches on that last part. I knew it with some astonishment if I'm actually going to see him cry. But he manages to hold it together, looking down at the floor.
I just wanted to do what was best for you. But I wasn't thinking of you when I did it. I was inconsiderate. And I'm sorry.
Amicus stands there quietly, apparently finished. I don't know if this is more about me or about him feeling inadequate for the emperorship. I've no doubt that our little fight yesterday caused it, though. Seeing a wolf like this, it hurts. But it also makes me kind of angry. This isn't the Amicus I know. I reach up, setting a hand on his shoulder, and he suddenly looks up at me. You're less than an hour away from becoming the emperor. You need to act like it.
What?
You think your dad would have acted like this when he wasn't sure of himself? Your grandfather, Drusus? There's a time and a place, and now is not the time. I don't know if they would have, but I'm grasping at straws at this point. And honestly, this is a lot more about you. This is about a lot more than you, or me, or anyone here. This is about the lives of millions of sapiens. About your entire empire. You think it all deserves to go to shit because suddenly you're not really sure of yourself. You're such a good person. Basically the opposite of what this society is. And you want to put that into your rule. That's amazing. But now you're suddenly willing to give up. The fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, you made a bunch of mistakes. But that doesn't matter now. What matters is that you make sure that that piece of shit brother of yours doesn't take the throne. So you better get your ass out there and beat the hell out of him in this stupid debate. I'm not sure what else to say, so I stop, breathing hard. After a moment, I realize the wolf is smiling at me, and it takes me a moment to calm down from my Hollywood movie pep talk. What? I am going to go out there, William. There's no doubt about that. I was having a moment. I was trying to be more honest with you. But thank you. I frown. You sure picked a hell of a moment to have it. I know. I've just been having a terrible time after yesterday's haul. I needed to apologize to you. I deflate a little. But there's some relief there, too, seeing Amicus somewhat back to his old self. I forgive you. But this is a lot bigger than us right now. I know it is. What I'm feeling is a lot bigger than us as well. Wolf sits upon my shoulder. But I'm honest about what I said. I'm sorry. And I will never do anything involving you without your consultation again. And I will take your cultural differences into better consideration in the future. I look up at Amicus, at his earnest face, and I find myself hugging him, and he hugs back tightly. We still need to talk about things, but we can do that later. You need to kick Cassius's ass first. Kick Cassius's ass first. I know. Amicus pulls back, both paws on my shoulders now. And I will. There's a gentle clearing of a throat behind us, and we both look to see Neferu casually lounging in the doorway. If you're finished, the trial begins in 30 minutes. Immediately, Amicus scowls at the side of the jackal, but he nods. I'd better be going then. So you're feeling better now? Much better, thanks to you. I smile as I feel a wave of relief, even though this is just like Amicus to be so easily cheered up. I allow the wolf to pull me towards the door. Neferu moves out of the way as we exit the stifling meditation room. Alright, I'm on my way to a shower. I'll be watching the rhetoric thing, I'll look for you, and we'll talk after this? Yeah, we'll talk after your emperor. Alright. Amicus leans in to kiss me on the lips, then pauses before planting it on my cheek instead. With that, he winks, then turns and dashes up the hall, running at a full sprint. I hear a soft chuckle behind me. Well, that went rather well. I didn't think that would be half as easy. I glance back at the jackal as he basically reveals that he's been planning this all along. I guess it was obvious. Shall we head to the throne room? They'll be wanting us sitting down as early so they can film us. The whole thing is a dreary spectacle after all. Alright. With that, I follow the jackal towards the throne room, hoping that what I'd said to Amicus is enough to get him in the right headspace to help him win. In just a few hours, I'll know if I'll be leaving soon, or staying for a long, long time. Either way, I'm just glad this happened. Okay, so in the next episode we're going to be seeing the debate, I guess. It looks like it. But until then, thank you for watching. This has been a long one. This is going to be a bit of a bitch to edit through. Fortunately, there's just a long gap where I watched a video while eating delicious food. So, I can't wait to see what happens in the next one. Thank you for watching. Let's go ahead and do the end slate real quick. On the left side of the screen, you see a long list of generous people's names. Those are my patrons from Patreon. Thank you all very much to them. Thank you very much to them for donating. On the right, there's a video recommended to you and the most recent upload. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, bye, y'all.